we are slowly taking the vehicle apart, getting rid of all the grass and stuff. So let's take the bottom off, the panels off. Take the pin off at the back, please, Aaron.
Okay, boss.
The pin, you just pull it off with your hand there. You see it?
Yeah, I see the pin.
Yep, pull that pin off. Right, sorry about my big oaf hands there in front of the camera, but yes, take your vehicle apart, move the debris, the big bits of debris first, then, you know, shake all the rocks loose and what have you. Don't drench it with a hose pipe if you can at all avoid it. I find it better to use my draft excluder thin brush to get to places I can't reach. We did take a bit of damage yesterday. This hasn't broken, it's just come loose, but we've lost the two roof lights, LEDs, so those will need to be replaced. But before we do that, this needs taking apart. I'm gonna have to take the pull starter off because no doubt grass has gotten in there. So after you've gotten it dirty like that, it's really important to give it a thorough cleaning and investigate and see if you have broken anything anywhere else that you cannot see, so you can catch it early, or so you don't cause a knock-on effect and break other things. Now, it's important after you've gotten rid of the debris and cleaned it that you oil and or grease or lubricate, sorry, not oil, because if you use something like WD-40, which I do have a can of lying about, this is a wet lube. So let's say you spray some in your bearings here, it remains wet, and this will attract an inordinate amount of dust and grime, and it's just horrible. And in the long run, I think it does more harm than good, because the dust particles together act like sandpaper, so you'll end up fouling components more. So it's best to use something like a silicone based lubricant, which you can spray on, and then it basically goes dry, so it won't attract as much dust as a wet lube. And remember, our RC cars, be it electric, nitro, brushed, brushless, petrol, even the ones that say they're waterproof, it would be more accurate to call them water resistant to a degree rather than waterproof. Because let's say you take it into the river or into a stream, or God forbid into the sea, and you think it's a submarine or try to use it as a submarine, and then you bring it home and you don't dry it, and then you come back a day later even, and you see it's all rusted and it's stopped working. Well, you'll know why. Because these are not submarines. If you use it as a submarine, you will more likely than not kill it. So don't treat your vehicle as a submarine. Unless you want to and that's what makes you happy, then by all means, go for it. Who am I to tell you what to do and what not to do? Remember, the things that I say are only my point of view. And my point of view will be subjective for you. It might be objective for me, but at best, it will be subjective for you. Like a couple of days ago, I made a video about fuels. I found unleaded to work just fine for me. All the myths about unleaded fuel notwithstanding, I found it to have not fouled up any components. And the money that I save by buying unleaded fuel over premium, so even if it does foul up my carburetor, the money I've saved will be more than enough to replace the carb, because the amount of time it's going to take to foul up a carb, you'll have saved that money anyway by the time that, if and when that does happen, which I really doubt will, because when E10 fuel came out, I was also one of those people that quickly jumped on the bandwagon. And yes, E10 fuel with its extra ethanol content isn't as good as the unleaded fuel we used to have before this fuel came out. I noticed when I put it in my BMW, and I noticed, it evaporates quicker, or I'm not getting as much miles as I used to. What's going on here? I mean, I think it was about 30% less miles, which is a hell of a lot of difference. But actually, no, it wasn't in my BMW, because my BMW is supposed to put in super unleaded in that, isn't it? Which car was it in? Anyway, that's besides the point. But I did find out quickly that I didn't like that fuel. But that's different. I'm in that car. So, you know, that's my baby. I spend a lot of money on it. I build things like this. This is where I spend most of my money on. You know, I built this from scratch. It's heavily reinforced. It's a 10,000 watts RMS subwoofer, but this has got nothing to do with our hobby here. Right, so anyway, getting a bit sidetracked here. We are going to clean this, and then we're going to grease the parts that need to be greased, lubricate what needs to be lubricated, and then fix what's broken and make sure it's thoroughly dried.